Looking back on the 30th anniversary of Magic, it turned out it will be a 30th anniversary that no player will ever forget. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for being here with me on the channel today. When we start looking back at the 30th anniversary, that milestone that it was supposed to be for Wizards of the Coast for Hasbro, the ill-conceived business decision of the 30th anniversary, which was supposed to be a celebration that everyone could get in on for $250 a pack. Remember that? Most people are not going to let that slide. That is the one moment in which the community of Magic the Gathering joined hands and said, no, too expensive, not going to touch it. What are you thinking for proxy cards? And there you have it. That's why people are going to remember the 30th anniversary. Not for the moment of Magic's history, but for the moment the unified player base of Magic the Gathering stepped up to the podium and said no. And rejected the product. And I don't mean just like a little bit, I mean wholeheartedly rejected it. And of course there'll be players who buy the odd card here and there. You can check TCG Player. There are a few smatterings of cards selling. There's a few openings that were done on various channels. But overall, nothing happened. And it's that one moment, and that's why the players of Magic the Gathering, the ones who were here, who watched content creators, who talked about this in playgroups and friends at LGSs, those who are still in business, are going to remember this. And they're not going to let Wizards ever forget that it happened. So you don't have to worry about things fading from memory. Just how things over time kind of go into the backdrop of your brain. Somebody, that vocal minority, is always going to bring it up. And there'll be YouTube content creators who will bring this stuff up. Whenever Wizards tries to kind of back us up against a wall in prices, this conversation is going to happen again. And we're going to remember it. And players are going to jump at it and just say, oh, we remember. We remember what you tried to do. And that's how it's going to go. For a very long time, that's what Wizards of the Coast is going to have to face down. All because of a few bad business decisions. When you look at it and say $250 a pack, remember US, which is like I think it's $2,000 here in Canada to buy a box of 4 when you convert it to Canadian dollars and add your taxes and stuff. It's a lot of money for proxy cards. Remember, you can't even play them technically. They're for collecting. They're just to look at. Pretty. Just pretty. When you look at that and ask players to step forward and pay that for the celebration, the ability to go and do it, it's pretty bad. And that's why people won't forget it. That's why it's going to pop up as jokes and conversations. Every time I hear a playgroup talking about it, and it happens often still, when I'm talking with my own friends and we joke about what will come next. Wizards of the Coast is a smoldering ruin right now. Those decisions are going to have to be answered for. Some heads will have to roll. Some better decisions made. I mean, they tried that new sack thing. I saw that. It was hilarious. I can't even believe that's happening. A ball sack. Yeah. I'm not even going to touch this one with a 10-foot pole. This is a clean channel. You know how I feel about that. But it's very funny. And it makes you wonder, who's leading Wizards of the Coast right now? What led to that decision to be made? What do we have coming forward next? What funny things we're going to get? Because this probably is not the end of it. As Wizards of the Coast, as Hasbro licenses out their product IP to do various things, you don't know what's coming down the pipe, but you get to smile and laugh. Because it probably all stems back to needing cash flow, which they didn't get from the 30th anniversary, and they're trying anything they can to bring in some revenue. At this point, that's where I think they're at. I don't have any insider knowledge. I have no clue. Maybe some of you guys can put something down in the comments section what you think is going on with that company and why decisions like this are being made. Because I know it's about the money. We know it's about the greed, but now that the greed's been turned away, and we're always going to be thinking about it with any decision players make, they're going to think about it. And if it's a new player coming on, somebody will be reminded. Somebody's going to tell you about it. Somebody's going to remind you about what happened in 2022 when Wizards of the Coast tried to push that button and jack up the prices. I remember talking on the channel about the double flip trip masters, those special collector boxes, and that being an expensive product. And then right around the corner came this, and it blew everyone's minds. Some people laughed, some people raged, some people quit, some people left, some people dissolved collections. And here we are in 2023, still talking about it, still bringing it up, because we got to remind people that it happened. At the same time, they will move on. Phyrexia, All Will Be One, is a good set, and they have put good sets out. If you want to think about it, sets like Dominaria Remastered, it's a reprint set. That set was doomed to fail from the beginning. Think about it now. Who's buying it? Nobody. It's sitting on store shelves just like we talked about. It had an initial run, and then it got buried. And now it's sitting there doing nothing. Great reprint cards inside the set. Good value for dollar for a lot of people. But the money moved on. Now you're stuck with it. And then when you go ahead and look at the new sets coming up, though, the new sets with new cards, Brothers War, Dominaria United, good sets, great fun. Phyrexia, All Will Be One, very well received set, and with a longer time period, it's going to see more sales. More boxes, more packs will get cracked. The singles market is where things are at. Wizards may have to determine how they're going to interact with their player base going forward and what plans they will have to rebuild the empire, as it were, to rebuild the house that is Wizards of the Coast. Because it's in a smoldering ruin. Dragons from Dungeons & Dragons burned it down. Magic players tapped the Black Lotus and fried everything. And Wizards is now just picking up the pieces, trying to figure it out. And their R&D teams are just going ahead with the game plan, that nothing is overprinted, everything is fine. But we all know, probably behind the scenes, they're lowering print runs, they're tightening things up. It'll take time, but it's happening. And still, the players will not forget what they did. Doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter how good a set is. There will be doubt inside your mind. And there will be a different playscape of what you're thinking every time you buy something, every time you engage with their products. Most players who were around the block at that time are going to remember it and going to think about it. LGSs who got burned by those Amazon dumps are always going to have a little bit in their head saying, do I really need to buy that much product right now? Or should I just restock after I sell out? Because that's what's happening right now. That's where people are at, which is why they'll never forget. It's burned into their minds because this is that moment. This is that space and time where it happened. What are you going to do, Wizards? What are they going to do? What would you guys do? I don't know. Me and my friends talked about it. And we have a few plans we think may happen. I've talked about it in a few of the other videos I've done. But you have to kind of laugh at this point, right? You have to take it with a little bit of a joke and say, they made their choices. We rejected it as the consumer. Now they've just got to pick up the pieces and put it all back together again, Humpty Dumpty style. See if all the king's horses and all the king's men can put them back together and give us something better. Give us something we desire as players. Something we want to dive into. I mean, Lord of the Rings will probably be a very big hit this year. When that hits the market, when we start seeing the spoilers, that is something that will drive in a lot of business to the company. And depending on how much they paid for the IP, Universes Beyond, if it's a real success, they may be able to branch out from that. They may be able to dive back into more of those products in the Universes Beyond coming forward. But we all know they haven't given us the full layout of their products this year. So it'll be curious to see what secret stuff they have coming up later in the year that we get to talk about. And if any of it compares even close to what we saw during the 30th anniversary, or maybe it did and they had to reprice it. Maybe they brought the price down because they don't want it to fail. What do you guys think about that? That's interesting too. Just came up the top of my head. Me and my friends didn't even talk about that maybe there's already products in the pipeline that they will just reprice because they've already paid the production value to print them. That's not going to matter. But maybe they'll reprice it. I wonder what product they would reprice. A Modern Horizons 3 style product? Because they got to have some big banger stuff that has some reprint cards coming up. Interesting times, guys. I can't wait so we can talk about this in the comments section and I can see your ideas and thoughts. Thanks a lot for being here for the video. Thanks a lot for chilling out with me on the channel today. And I'm looking forward to reading these comments. It could be pretty interesting. Sad, funny, and Wizards will have a plan. Let's see what decisions they come up with this time. Thanks again for hanging out, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks again for being here to all my fantastic patrons. A big shout out and thank you, because those patrons help make this content each and every day. To all my regular viewers, thanks again for supporting the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and help the channel grow. Time will tell. Should be a very interesting year still. I'm getting kind of psyched up. The Lord of the Rings has got my blood pumping. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here at the end of the video. Looking forward to seeing what you guys say. It should be interesting. You're the special ones. You make it right to the end every time. I appreciate it, guys. Have a great day today. You deserve it.